and welcome to the SMEFocus show, powered by MTDCNC. I'm your guest host, this week, Mark Weymouth of Sensor Specialist Plus Automation. Today, I'm helping carry on the great work this show does in supporting the UK manufacturing sector and highlighting SMEs. My guest today is a vocal supporter of UK manufacturing. It's Johnathan Dudley of Crowe UK. Hi, Johnathan. Welcome.
Hi. Hello there.
Hi. So let's kick off. Tell me about Crowe UK and what you do.
Well, confession time at the start. We are a firm of accountants, but we would say we're a firm of accountants with a difference because we've passionately supported and believed in British manufacturing and engineering industry for as long as I've been involved with the firm, which is a very long time now. So we run a manufacturing network. We run 6 monthly surveys in conjunction with the Confederation of British Metal Formers. We're engaged at all levels with lobbying from government, and actually, we think it's novel and quite powerful for a bunch of accountants to be advocates for the manufacturing industry rather than just manufacturers.
Okay, if we have a little journey back in time, you've talked about your passion for UK manufacturing, but where does it come from? What gives you the buzz about it?
My family connections. My family come from good black country stock, and my father was a metallurgist, and he owned his own business, and I worked on the shop floor of that business from a very early age until I decided to go into accountancy. And actually, even during my student days, I would still sort of spend weekends working on the shop floor, and I had a real passion for it. I got the opportunity to visit, because it was in metal finishing, I got to visit a number of engineering businesses all over the place, really, and actually sort of see what we were plating was being manufactured, produced, and I just got a real interest in it and a real buzz, and that buzz continues to this day.
You mentioned the Confederation of British Metal Forming. We met yesterday at their mini expo on fasteners, and I think whilst I was still trying to set up, I was feeling the heat of things not going quite right. You thrust into my hand your supporting British manufacturing questionnaire. Tell me a little bit about that. What are the aims?
Right. So we run that questionnaire now. We're in the 7th year. And the content of it is we responded to a fair bit of feedback from people that was, well, don't mind filling in a questionnaire, but we don't want a long one. So what we do is we now roll it on a 6-month basis. There's a bit of commonality there, but some of the subjects we use, we actually sort of put in the spring one or the autumn one. And the latest one we're just promoting now. Obviously, we're keen to get people's responses post the general election, and probably in advance of the forthcoming budget in the end of October, and what people's reactions are going to be. So it'll be a useful bellwether. And we want as many people involved in manufacturing filling in that document, which you can either get from the manufacturing page of our website, or there are hard copies available, as you've got one there, Mark.
Okay. Talking of the new government, you've been calling for a Minister for Manufacturing for a very long time and also pushing for a long-term industrial strategy. Why do you believe these 2 points are so important, and why are they becoming ever more urgent?
Well, I think it's interesting to actually take into context what's happened over the last month or so. The new government have gone in to power with a statement of having an agenda for growth. Now, we see manufacturing, and if you look at our manufacturing manifesto that was drafted out and we shared with the political parties before the general election, we see manufacturing as accounting for 20% or more of the country's GDP, so it is significant. And to get growth in manufacturing, we identified 5 key areas where which needed attention, and that needed a effectively a strategy for manufacturing, which, to be fair, the government, when they first got in, they mentioned growth. They said they were going to put in place an industrial strategy and have an industry council to drive that industrial strategy. That all sounded good. What's interesting now they've been in power for a couple of months or so. If you now, as I have been, look back at the recommendations we were putting in for that manifesto, there's still a lot of work to do. And some of the things they've been recommending, as with all politicians of all political colours, they say one thing and actually they then go and do something completely different. Why is it important to have an industrial strategy? Because it's 20% of our GDP. We're an island nation. It's important to the security and independence of our country. It's vital that there's somebody around that cabinet table defending the position where necessary, because right here, right now, in number 11 Downing Street, there will be a number of portfolio holders within the government making their representation to Rachel Reeves as to how their budget and how their portfolio is most important. As it stands at the moment, there's nobody got that voice around the cabinet table exclusively, and didn't in the last government either, so this is not political, but it's vital to achieve economic growth in this country for manufacturing industry to be a key component of that. And that's why we need a Minister for Manufacturing.
Okay, so we've talked about really what we'd like to see the government doing in the next coming months, but what about yourself, or what about Crowe? What's the plans for the next coming months?
Well, what I'm going to be doing over the next few months, we are continuing to run a network of events and webinars and seminars on stuff that's relevant. Of course, there's a lot of stuff coming up around and about the budget. We're going to actually run a live event and watch the budget together, and hopefully try and get some of the news media talking to some real people, maybe hopefully some manufacturers, about what they think about the budget, rather than interviewing somebody in a pub somewhere, which tends to be what they do. So real people, real working people, which, and of course, working people is a key thing for the budget. When the budget is out of the way, and particularly taking into account the political conference season, I'm absolutely going to be looking at the 5 key pillars that we identified, being skills and education, investment, digitisation and innovation, energy decarbonisation and the route to net zero, supply chain strategy and security, and access to finance, and actually really trying to drive and advocate the recommendations we made back in June, having sort of asked manufacturers all over the country and abroad what was actually needed, and tried to drive that. And of course, it's not just central government that can have influence on that. If you're lucky enough to live in an area with a regional authority, you've got a regional government to actually go at. And even sometimes within local government, there's an opportunity too. Money is going to be tight, whichever way you're going to look at it. But it's very important that waste is cut out. We're going to try and drive people working on their waste in order to free up resources to actually drive their business forward. And most importantly, help businesses actually see a way forward, in spite of perhaps there's a fair bit of negativity around at the moment, which doesn't actually necessarily across the board translate to what's really going on out there. It and unless some of that negativity, of course, drives negativity and prohibits investment. Certainly, if we're going to be successful, investment as a country, investment needs to be upticked. There's a need to digitise. There's a need to drive for net zero. Why on earth can't UK businesses be at the forefront of that?
Indeed. So busy months ahead.
Yeah,
I think we'll race forward to Christmas, grab a break, and then a busy year after that. So exciting
yeah.
times, challenging times, but I think lots to look forward to and keep us all out of trouble. Okay, well, thank you very much, Jonathan. That was really interesting. I will wrap up by saying if you'd like to get in touch with the show with a comment, a suggestion, or you'd like to appear in a future episode, please email us at inquiries@mtdcnc.com or contact myself, Stuart Whitehead, or Joe Reynolds. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekend. I'm Mark Weymouth Plus Automation. Have fun. Cheers.